Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to my channel and to another stock market update. Haven't done a video in over a week. Actually, I haven't uploaded a video in over a week. Tried to do two last week, but it wouldn't take them. For whatever reason, when I try to piece together a video with a couple different things, it's not taking them. But when I do like one take, it just seems to take it for whatever reason. But I'm trying to do all this in one take, so forgive me if I make some mistakes. But I'm going to start off with the QQQ or the NASDAQ ETF and just give you my thoughts on the current state of the market and some potential things that I see that are coming up in the future. But looking at the QQQ, we can see that the market did just about what I thought it could do to extend this rally. I talked about in my last video how I was having this little creeping uptrend right here. And what you want to see after a creeping uptrend, this usually happens a little bit more with stocks than it does indices, but this time it happened to occur with this indice. Then you get a break to a new high, and then a move down on to a support level, not back into the range, but back down on top of an old high, and then you get that acceleration. Now, it had these 3 down days right here. I got to tell you, I wasn't very optimistic that was going to happen. I thought we needed a nice big turnaround green candle, and luckily we got it. Now we are getting that extended move of the rally. Normally when you see something like this in a regular stock, this can be where the trend tends to accelerate to the upside. Actually, let me get this crap out of here so we can see it a little bit better. And it looks like that's what we are having right now. But I do see some problems coming up in the future. You know, we're heading up towards this 200 period simple moving average. Plus, we have this big cluster of resistance right in this area. The market is a little bit extended. You can see that we came right up to it yesterday and had, it kind of had a little bit of a reversal, but now the market, as of this point in time anyway, is looking like it could be blasting through it. This is still midday on a Tuesday, so there's still plenty of time left in the trading day, so I don't know where the day is going to end up today. But I just want to show you guys an area of concern that I am looking at on the NASDAQ. And if we jump over to the weekly chart right here, I'm actually a little bit, I don't know, disappointed in myself that I didn't see this happening a couple of months ago. Normally, I am combing through the weekly charts of the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow, looking for areas of support that the indice is following right now. Now, they kind of change from time to time, and I like to look at these moving averages. And this purple line that I have right here is usually the 21 period exponential moving average on my chart. Let me show you what that normally looks like. But if we look at the purple line right here, we can see found a little bit of support here, and then it started breaking through it. It wasn't, didn't touch it enough times to be considered concrete support. But if I make an adjustment to that, let me see if I can do that again, just move right back to where it was, you're going to get to see what I am talking about. And if you do this with your charts, especially for stocks that you follow very closely, if you flip it up to longer term time frames and start messing around with the moving averages, you'll see areas of support that the stock, or in this case the indice, is following right now. And you can see back here in early 2021, we had a couple of bounces off that 30 period simple moving average, had a couple more in May, had another nice one in October of 2021, and then you had that breakdown through it. Now, this is my favorite type of trade once it has followed the moving average for about 4 or 5 bounces. Once it breaks down through it, I love to get short or buy some puts once it comes back up into that moving average, and that's exactly what we had in looks like April of 2022, and unfortunately I missed that trade, but it looks like we could be coming up to that 30 period simple moving average pretty soon here. I'm putting that right around 324, maybe 324.50, And if the NASDAQ gets up to that area, I am going to want to get short in some capacity. I don't expect it to be a huge move down, but I do expect it to probably be at least the short-term end to this move up here. Now, I'm actually thinking that we're probably going to get a little bit of a move down and then a move back up. But if this ends up being the top, this could be another big rollover. Now, I don't think it's going to be another big rollover like we had the first time we came up to that 30-period simple moving average, but the fact that it's coming up to that moving average, plus we have all this resistance right here as well, this makes me think this is going to be a pretty decent short to medium term trade. Now, moving out a little bit on the QQQs, you can definitely see that we're picking up momentum to the upside. The MACD has finally, the fast line has finally moved above that slow line. So normally this is the spot where the trend can tend to keep going, but doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of a pullback on the way up. So that's what I'm kind of thinking is going to happen. Just my opinion. I'm thinking we're probably going to find some resistance up around that 324 to 325-ish area. Have a nice little pullback and then a little continuation into some more of this summer rally that we're having right now. But let me get this stuff off the screen right here. But that's my little prediction on the QQQ. But definitely a very nice pattern happening right now in the NASDAQ. I think we have a little bit more room to the upside. But let's jump over to the Spider or the S&P 500 ETF. You can see we've had a nice little move up and we've been going sideways for 3 days. We do have this resistance area right around here, so it's it's only logical that we're probably gonna have a little bit of a pause when we get up there. But all in all, very nice bottoming formation in the SPY. And I'm thinking that this pattern that we're having right here, this little pause cluster is going to be similar to this little pause cluster right here. We're going to have a little bit of continuation before we get some weakness. So that's what I'm looking for in the S&P 500. If we jump over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, you can see the same exact thing, getting up here close to some resistance area. Nice little sideways cluster that resembles the one that we had back when we broke above that 8-period exponential moving average in late March of this year. So I'm expecting the same thing for the Dow Jones. And, everything kind of rallies together, so it only makes sense that these things are probably going to end up doing the same thing. But the IWM is looking a little bit stronger than the S&P 500 and the Dow, and that is a very good thing. You can see a lot of these indices made that nice MACD positive divergence. I pointed that out, a couple of months ago, and we're not getting a super sharp rally off of it. It had to grind around for a little bit before it finally took off, but if we were looking at that moving average convergence divergence signal, we can see that the IWM has moved up about 15%. That's a pretty decent bear market rally, and I do think that this is probably just going to end up being a bear market rally. But you can also see the resistance, the heavy resistance up here on the IWM as well. So I think we have a little bit more to go to the upside, and then we're probably going to run into some pretty stiff resistance in the overall market. Now let's jump over to the all-important USO, or the price of oil, the oil ETF. And you can see it is chopping around. And I think, in my opinion, it's getting a little bit weaker here, even though the moving average convergence divergence indicator is continuing to rise. I'm thinking we're probably going to get a rollover in the oil contract, and we're definitely probably going to be going through this 200-period simple moving average before we end up, turning back around. Now, with all the things that could happen geopolitically, that could easily send oil, screaming upward and just, negate everything you see here on the chart. So always keep that in mind. But that's what I'm thinking is going to happen with oil. But if we look at some of the bigger companies in the market right now, we can see, there was that moving average convergence divergence signal that I talked about before on Apple. And these are pretty good bottoming signals. Once you see, a stock making a new low and the moving average convergence divergence indicator making a higher low, you don't want to buy it right away. You want to wait for it to make a move above that 8-period exponential moving average. But more often than not, that'll be a pretty decent reversal signal, especially after an extended move to the downside. And of course, you want to see a big bounce up and then a sharp move back down. Those tend to work the best. When they kind of don't bounce very high and then just kind of roll over slowly. Those tend to work less than these type of signals where you get a fast bounce up. That means buyers came into the stock in a strong way, sold off for whatever reason, and then buyers step back in. That's usually telling you that selling is starting to dry up. But Apple is looking really good. Microsoft is looking like it is bottoming as well. This one has taken a little bit longer to bottom, but definitely broke above this resistance area right here, and it is holding so far. Another one that is important to the market is Google. You can see Google looks like it's trying to get its footing right here. It's been going sideways for several months, so this thing is definitely under accumulation. Had a nice little false breakdown here, and then had a sharp reversal to the upside. So that is a good sign for Google stock. And another one that's important to the market as well is Tesla. You can see Tesla is performing very well. I do think Tesla is going to have some heavy resistance up here. It's fighting with that 200 period simple moving average, so I wasn't sure if it was going to be able to blast through it or not. But if we do get some more upside in the market, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Tesla comes up here and tags this trend line right here, and that's where I'm looking for Tesla to have some weakness. Another stock that kind of surprised me today was Uber. Uber came out with some earnings, and the guidance was pretty darn good. So Uber had been making a little bit of a rounded bottom. I had considered buying some Uber over the last couple of days, and I wish I would have. One stock that I did end up buying was Goodyear Tire. I don't know why. I just thought that this thing was making a nice little bottoming formation. Got stopped in on the breakout above 12, and I don't know, it's looking pretty good so far, but this wasn't a very volatile stock, but I was able to take a bigger than normal position just because it's not so extremely volatile. In order to kind of get the return that I'm looking for, I unfortunately have to take a little bit more risk, but I think Goodyear Tire is looking pretty good, holding that 8-period exponential moving average and having a nice little green candle. So as long as this holds up, I think Goodyear Tire is probably going to be headed towards $13 a share, where this resistance is right here. And that's where I am probably going to take off some of this trade, maybe all of it. I haven't really decided yet. And another one I think looking pretty interesting at the moment is Sundial, SNDL. This thing is making a little bit of a what used to be referred to as a pinball formation. You get the sharp move down, everything gets really tight, and then you get a nice big green candle. Usually if you can get above that 8-period exponential moving average, you can get some continuation to the upside. And you can see Sundial has some resistance up here right around $3. That's a pretty decent sized move from where it's at right now, and definitely a decent sized move from this bottom that it made a couple of days ago. That's about a 38% move in that one. And of course, got to end the video with the insane stock of the week, I guess. I don't know what the heck is going on with this one, but it's HKD. I don't know. This is a graphic depiction of greed. So if you're in the stock, I would really look to ring the register right about now. I said in my Patreon group that it was definitely worth shorting a couple of days ago. Of course, none of us did it, thank God. But obviously, I nailed that one like a split hog, because this thing is just screaming towards I don't know, insanity, I guess I would want to say. But this thing is definitely due for a fast turnaround to the downside any day now, probably any second now, but who knows, this thing might just end up going to $10,000 a share. But I think I'm going to end the video right there and see if I can get this one uploaded. If you guys see any interesting trades in the market or anything interesting in the indices, let me know down there in the comment section. I really appreciate all of you guys that do take the time to tell me what you're seeing in the market. It definitely widens my perspective on what's going on in the market. But I'm going to end it right here. Thank you so much for watching this one all the way to the end. And until next time, take care, everybody.